4 quarters make the whole
Hey
school
guys,
year.
bro.
Okay? Because
I'm
another
back.
name for a quarter is
Another video.
1/4. With money, there's a coin called a quarter. How many of them do you need to make a whole dollar? 4 of them. Each one is a quarter of a dollar. That's why it's called that. Another thing that is similar, the word quart in measurements, quarts and gallons. Guess how many quarts it takes to make a whole gallon? 4 quarts in a gallon. Okay, so sometimes if we really think about our vocabulary, our words, we can get a better sense of what they mean if we think about what words they are made of, what the base words are. All right, anyway, math in my world, we're going to move on now. So example 1 says Caden had 3 apples. He cut off half of an apple to eat. What mixed number represents the amount of apples
Is my
left?
favorite teacher
All right,
ever.
we can see where he had 3
You have
apples,
to believe me.
but he cut one in half and ate half of it. All right, and the question is, what mixed number represents the amount of apples left? He had 3. He cut off half of an apple to eat. Okay, so it says count the wholes, then count the parts. There are 2 whole apples. Here's 1.
I was going to put 2 of my Rolex on.
Here's another one. 2 whole apples. And a half of 1 apple that's left. Okay, this half is left.
59,000.
So we can see with these models, circles, we can see 2 whole circles and then a half of a third circle. So what fraction do we have left? Well, 1 whole plus 1 whole plus a half would equal 1 plus 1 is 2, and that fraction, 1/2. So 2 and a half of the apples are left. 2 and 1/2. All right. Always remember to use that word "and" when reading mixed numbers. To get from the whole to the fraction, you're going to use the word "and" to join the whole to the fraction in a mixed number. All right. Let's move on to the next page, page 538. All right. At the top of page 538, it says you can decompose. Now remember, decompose means to break it down into simpler parts, smaller parts. You can decompose a mixed number into a sum of whole numbers and unit fractions. So we can break it apart into whole numbers, single whole numbers, and unit fractions, single fractions that have a numerator of 1. So breaking it down into smaller parts, simpler parts, and writing it as a sum, meaning plus signs, okay? Sum means you can add those parts back together to represent the mixed number that you're talking about. Now it says recall that a unit fraction is a fraction with a numerator of 1. When you're talking about a unit fraction, you're talking about 1 piece of something, okay? The smallest part, the simplest fraction that you can get is a unit fraction when you're talking about 1 piece of something. The numerator will be 1. All right, so example 2, it says write the length of this leaf as a mixed number. Write an equation to show the mixed number. Okay, write the length of this leaf as a mixed number, and then write an equation to show the mixed number. All right, so we're going to count the holes. The leaf is being measured from one end that's lined up with 0, the tip of the stem, to the other end, the very tip of the leaf. And they've drawn a straight line down to the ruler. Notice that one end is lined up with the 0, which anytime you're measuring something, you should always begin at the 0. Okay? So we can see that it is more than 1 inch long. It's more than 2 inches long. It's even more than 3 inches long. Okay? So we can get 3 whole inches out of this. So it says, step 1, count the holes. The leaf is 3 whole inches long. And then we'll count the parts. So let me mark the 1/4 inches here. This is 1/4. This would be 2/4 or a half, and this is 3/4. Those in between marks, what do you think those in between ones are? If these are fourths of inches, what would be half of a fourth? If you cut fourth size pieces in half, then you would have 8. So each of those would be 1/8 of an inch, okay? So this lands on the 3/4 of an inch after 3. So the leaf is 3/4 of an inch longer than 3 inches. Okay, boys and girls, the leaf is 3 and 3/4 inches long. Don't forget that and, very important. All right, so now we're going to write the equation. I'm gonna go ahead and move my board up
Because you did it on my phone.
so we can see it.
Check my YouTube
Too
channel.
far, write the equation. So they are showing us 3 1/4 tiles over here. 3 1/4 tiles can be used to model 3/4. Okay, so it says write 3 as 1 + 1 + 1. Okay, so 3 whole ones, and then plus. And to break down that 3/4 into unit fractions, we would write that as 1/4 + 1/4 + 1/4. So it says write 3/4 as the sum of unit fractions. How many fourths would 3/4 be? 1, another one, and another one, 3 of them. So 3 and 3/4 equals 1 + 1 + 1, 3 wholes, plus 1/4 + 1/4 + 1/4. Okay, so just decompose that mixed number as a sum of its parts. Okay, its wholes and fractions, unit fractions.
Green.
Green. Says how are fractions and mixed numbers alike and how are they different? Well, just a straight fraction is just one part is a part of a whole.
I will.
Okay. Mixed numbers include whole numbers and a fraction of another part of some other whole. So that's how they're alike and different. Guided practice at the bottom says write a mixed number for the shaded model. Okay.
So I found one live 10 people. 10 people.
And so we see 3 hexagons, and look at the green parts. How many of them are completely shaded green?
Snapchat.
I see 2 whole hexagons that have been shaded green. So I'm going to write the whole number 2, regular size, just the size that we would write a whole number. And then let's see how many parts these are broken into. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So of this third hexagon, not the whole thing is shaded, only part of it is. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts are shaded green. And so since there's 6 parts in the whole, I would add on the fraction 5, 6. And notice compared to my whole 2, the fractions should be quite a bit smaller. They should be about half the size of your regular number. So the fraction isn't too much taller than your regular number. And how do we read this mixed number, boys and girls? Read it with me, please. 2 and 5, 6. 2 wholes and 5, 6 of a third one. Not quite 3. All right, boys and girls. Remember what we just learned. Watch it again if you need to. And we'll be doing math tomorrow in class using mixed numbers. So we'll see how we do. And I'll see you then. Bye.
Yep. I'm still on live.
Is that a good thing we didn't eat these under the ceiling fan? You're gonna take it.
Oh, that's new.
Dude, it looks shallow, but I would put money that there'd be like pike and bass in here. Yeah, it's flowing.
It's flowing.
It's got vegetation. Oh, you said something just wanted. Some hidey holes. Woo! We've made it. It's time to get active. Rob's got his
I'll
sticks.
show you my
I've
friends.
got a Rick frogging stick. Also Rick spinning. Rob's also got a tiny little rod. It's gonna be a lot of fun to throw. What are you gonna start off with?
Kid
Deadly
messenger.
Nedley. Our goal for today is to explore some of these northern creeks that are just absolutely littered throughout the northern part of Minnesota. I'm starting off with a little tiny finesse rig. One thing I've found is that the shallower the water and the clearer the water, it's best to throw tiny presentations. Oh, you already got one? Rob's already hooked up. I should probably get active. Wow, look at that. So yeah, I'm gonna take a little tiny finesse hook, that big, and I'm gonna put a finesse worm on that finesse hook, right? That would make sense. Quick tips from John B. Got the worm, this sexy little deal here. It's very tiny, very subtle. That's all you need. And we're working with limited tackle today too. It's kind of a challenge. Legitimately, all the tackle I have to use today is in this little box right here. This is it. I got nothing else. So it's going to be a covert ops, lightweight run and gun mission on these creeks. Hope you guys are stoked. Stick with it. Let's catch some fish. Spot number one. Let's see if I can stop on some fish. So it's a place of 4 million lakes, but how many creeks though? Like 13.
Brilliant.
What if they had like this thing where it's like land of 10,000 lakes and only 13 creeks? All right. Well, first creek was that was fun. I lost a bass and I walked all the way down. I didn't see a single fish.
It's like 3 minutes away.
Oh, 3 minutes. Let's go.
3 minute drive.
Let's full sender.
Whoa, it wants us to go that way.
I reckon probably that this is going to be a good spot. Throwing the lures in here. Robert, hey, try throwing the lures. This is awkward. Here. This is just so awkward. Look how awkward this is. Have you ever been this awkward before? Let's go be awkward on the creek. We're at creek number 2 now. I'm rolling with just the chestnut. I think the key here is 2 keys. There's 2 things, 2 factors that I have to rely on. One of which, I got to pack light. Bag of baits and a rod reel. And then the other factor is I have to find running water. That last spot that we were at, it seemed like most of the fish where Rob was fishing were clumped up there because of that current. And then the farther you went down, the slacker the water got and the limited amount of fish there were. I got to use my noodle here. I got to find some running water, which I can hear right now. You guys hear that? Worm in the water. Lure engaged. Oh my God, the blue they're after. I got largely, it's a little enough. I'm hooked up. First cast. I've already got one. Look at this water. Oh my God, this is crystal. Bunch of current too. Look how much current there is.
Guys, I have to end the stream right now.
Big one. Rob and I doubled up. That thing smashed it.